where the Queensland Treasurer, Cameron Dick, is handing down the state budget.
Few industries in the world have enjoyed such a long period without change. But from the 1st of July, the 10-year freeze comes to an end. It is time for new arrangements to be implemented. Arrangements that reflect coal prices in excess of $500 per tonne, not the $150 per tonne for which the existing royalties were designed. 3 new progressive royalty tiers will be introduced. 20% for prices above $175 per tonne, 30% for prices above $225 per tonne, and 40% for prices above $300 per tonne. Each of those new tiers applies only on the margin, so at a coal price of $302 per tonne, the 40% rate would only apply to the last $2. We know the foreign shareholders of coal companies won't like these changes, but they can rest easy. We are not increasing the rates that apply at the existing tiers, as the former LNP government did in 2012 during an industry downturn. The new regime is forecast to deliver an additional $1.2 billion in royalties over the forward estimates.
Order.
30% less than was forecast through the changes made by the former LNP government in 2012. All of that $1.2 billion and more will be going into regional Queensland. Yeah. Speaker, we will build a new hospital for Moranbah. We will expand Mackay Hospital, Townsville Hospital and Cairns Hospital. More beds in hospitals in Rockhampton, at Hervey Bay and at Serena. And we will deliver 2 new major hospitals in Bundaberg and Toowoomba. And we will continue to back the future of the resources industry. To support the future of our resources sector, $68.5 million over 5 years will be invested through the Queensland Resources Industry Development Plan. That includes a further $17.5 million to encourage exploration and make new mineral discoveries. Alongside resources, we will be working with other industries because we want advanced manufacturing to flourish, to grow and to create jobs. Our
That's Cameron Dick there confirming new royalty rates for Queensland Coal to fund their budget. That development as both New South Wales and Queensland have today handed down their budgets. Our reporters are standing by in Sydney and Brisbane after being in budget lockups earlier in the day. Let's begin in Brisbane. The Queensland Treasurer describing his latest budget as the best ever produced by the Palaszczuk government, and our Bureau Chief Adam Walters is there in Brisbane. Adam, Treasurer Dick seemed to be proud of the new numbers for the government, including that change to royalties.
Indeed, Kieran, he announced Queensland was emerging from COVID with a budget surplus of $1.9 billion. The Premier, Anastasia Palaszczuk, says that proves Queensland was more resilient than any other jurisdiction during the pandemic. This is what she had to say.
Queensland did not have the large-scale lockdowns that New South Wales and Victoria had, which meant that people were kept in jobs and our economy continued to function. And that is the enormous work that Queenslanders did, going out there each and every day, doing their jobs, allowed our economy to continue to grow.
A pandemic whose impacts have been felt in our homes, our businesses, our schools and our hospitals. Notwithstanding these challenges, the great resilience of Queenslanders won through, built on perseverance, discipline and hard work. And that has allowed this budget to build on our extraordinary economic recovery.
Kieran says this budget seeks to address the sad state of the Queensland health system, and Cameron Dick says the government has been listening to grave concerns about under-resourcing and crowded hospitals.
That this year's budget will deliver a record commitment of $23.6 billion for frontline health services and high-quality healthcare infrastructure. Today, our government commits $9.8 billion for a funding program to expand the capacity of Queensland's health system, the biggest hospital building program in the history of Queensland. That commitment will deliver 2,200 additional overnight hospital beds.
Kieran, there'll also be new hospitals in Bundaberg, Toowoomba and Coomera, 9,475 new jobs for frontline staff and $1.645 billion for mental health. Now, employment and investment in clean energy were the next biggest headlines, with the Treasurer announcing 8,000 construction jobs, mostly in regional Queensland, 5,774 megawatts of clean energy, avoiding 13.8 million tonnes of emissions, and a $48 million kickstart for pumped hydro energy storage. Now, the Treasurer went on to announce a record budget for education and training, revealing $742 million for additional renewed infrastructure in existing state schools, 675 more teachers, 200 more teachers' aides, and $80.6 million for students with a disability. Kieran, there was a major insulation for Queenslanders in terms of the rising costs of housing, petrol and power in a cost of living package announced by Cameron Dick that included $6.8 billion in concessions for transport, housing, healthcare, education, water and energy costs, $385 million to provide a $175 discount for Queenslanders on their power bills. Now, apart from boasting of a budget surplus for this financial year, the budget forecast a reduction in net debt of more than $6.1 billion. Now, Cameron Dick says there's nothing accidental about these healthy figures, saying they are manifest of what he calls sound, responsible fiscal management geared towards recovery and growth. Kieran.
Adam, thank you.